poverty is not on the agenda for the health authority. And yet, if we could take everyone and bring them up to a level of prosperity that's shared by most of us in this room, it would reduce our healthcare expenditures by at least 25%.
I would posit that you are actually part of the gay community. I didn't ask whether you were a gay person yourself, but you are included in my community because by the very nature that you are here listening to me. And we often forget that. We often forget that, in the civil rights movement, you heard people say, oh, well, I'm a white person, why would I march? Or in the feminist movement, I'm a man, I'm not allowed to march. Well, we are all engaged in the struggle of emancipation. We are all charged with looking out for not just ourselves, but also our neighbors. And so I think you should think of yourself, if you know somebody who's in your life, that you are part of the gay community. And it's that kind of inclusive approach to community that I think is a real strength of the queer community, that we welcome people in, and that the whole struggle as a minority group in order to gain civil rights and civil power is a struggle for civil rights and civil power for all people, so that we are all equal.
Just in terms of the kind of infrastructure that they have set up that allows them to carry out their business. So the site preparation at Saints Lutheran actually started in 1973. So, a lot of folks here probably remember there being some struggles around the power plant dating back for decades. My folks are from Alberta and my mom said, I remember when I was in university and people were talking about the power plant. So it's not new, but the scale is definitely newer, and the level, the rate of extraction. Saints facility, we're talking about 248,000 square meters cubic meters of concrete, 850 kilometers of piping, almost 3,000 kilometers of wiring, 500,000 tons of materials and equipment. And the company actually is somewhat bragging about the fact that it's one of the largest single construction projects in Canadian history.
So they put it all together, and totally sort of from the grassroots up, it comes out of meetings people do together. Food, renewable energy, but the most amazing growth is in local currency. So the minute you move to local currency, everyone has a contribution to make. Everyone becomes productive. With the Wall Street and Treasury-driven currencies, it's those who have notes in their pockets who matter in society. But local currency puts everyone around the table to make economic decisions.
The amount of universities who are boycotting is really academia. Unfortunately, I think that's what it's going to take to really start turning things around. Of course, we have to counteract the people who are subsidizing Israel from the United States and Canada too, but the more we draw parallels with South Africa, the more it's a very similar process, the more we have to insist that we don't do business with Israel until they're willing to join the community of nations that are based on equal rights and justice of all the people who live under their dominance. And so on.
I can only hope and pray that something will happen, because it's just the most intolerable pattern I have ever witnessed in my adult life. And it leads to the 6th millennium development goal, which was to turn back the communicable diseases of AIDS, tuberculosis, and malaria, because as everyone knows, women are so much more vulnerable to the virus. Why are they vulnerable to the virus? Because they have no sexual autonomy whatsoever. And in particular, the pattern of young women marrying older men, the young women feeling that